men can be kind of shaped into these behaviors that are damaging towards women. And I don't want to focus too much on the idea of coercion or overlooking soft nose and things like that, because I think more of the damage comes from things like lying and manipulating women into sex and using them for sex.
What would be an example of lying or manipulating a woman into sex? Like if a man who worked at McDonald's said he was a lawyer, would that be?
No, like giving the impression.
I mean, it would, but okay.
Sure, yeah, sure. Giving the impression that you're interested in having a relationship with somebody.
Can't women do that too?
Yeah, but I think it happens at a much higher frequency from the male side because there's more incentive to. If you tie your self-worth to how many women you have sex with, and you tie your self-worth to...
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think...
So, I mean, that sounds like there's a cure, though. Like, immediately, it stands out to me that there's a cure. Now I understand what you're saying, at least. I understand your argument. You're saying, and I'll just kind of steel man this to make sure I get it right. You're saying, listen, if society is saying that men's self-worth is much higher based on, how many women they're having sex with, then they have an incentive to have sex with more women, thus lie to more women about wanting to have a long-term relationship in order to have sex with them, right?
Yeah, I would say that's part of it.
Okay, well then wouldn't the argument for this be female chastity? Wouldn't that literally cure that problem? Wouldn't female chastity literally cure that problem if women waited till they were married to have sex? Wouldn't that literally cure the problem?
I don't think necessarily, because part of the problem is the way that men view women, and that also needs to be
do. Okay, but if they view them as thing I want to have sex with, if they're just objectifying them, right? Thing I want to have sex with, and a woman goes, well, you can't have sex till we're married. How's that not the cure?
Maybe they just want to get married so that they can have sex with the person.
Yeah, but I mean, if that is the case, then wouldn't that be vastly more preferable? Because you're saying they're lying to women about the wanting to have a long-term relationship with them. I mean, marriage is certainly a long-term commitment, right? I can't think of a more long-term commitment than that.
Sure. I don't think it's necessarily preferable, though, because I think a lot of women are feeling like they are undervalued and like they are not being appreciated for who they are as a person and only being appreciated for what they have to offer sexually.
Well, it seems that if a man's willing to marry them, they seem to be appreciated for basically everything. But if you're getting, what do they say, right? It's the old saying, if you're getting the milk for free, right? If you're getting the milk for free, then why buy the cow, right? So the question becomes, if that is your argument, and it does, and I did steel man it, you said it was, male promiscuity, they have incentive to lie so they can have access to sex. Okay, that's a high status, right? Got it. Well, if that is the status, then it sounds like female chastity would essentially cure this issue. I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't.
I don't think it does, because I think part of the problem is that women want to be valued for more than that.
Yeah, but they would be being valued for more than that. They would be getting married to men, right? Those men would definitely value them, or they wouldn't be marrying them, right?
But if they're still just marrying them because they want that status of, or that access to a woman, I don't think.
Well, I'm sorry. Let's just assume for a second that like only 5% of them marry completely on the condition that that's the only way they can have sexual access. Wouldn't that still be completely superior in every way to modernity that you're talking about right now?
I don't think that a 5%, I don't think that would be inaccurate.
Okay, let's say it's 50%. Wouldn't that still be superior to the modernity that you're... How would it not?
Sorry, in your example or scenario, is it like a society where we're not allowed to get divorced? Or
it's just
like
modern society. Modern society where you're saying there's a plague of men who will lie to women in order to get sexual access. It's like, okay, but if they lie to the woman and say, hey, I love you, but I'm willing to marry you and take care of you for the rest of your life in order to get access to that sex, how is that still not superior to the idea that they could just hump you and dump you? I don't get that.
Like, I suppose you could say that's superior, but how do we get there? And why do you think it's just...
Yeah, but that's not really the question of how we get there. We first have to establish that has to be superior to what we now have.
I'm not committed to an answer on that.
You're not committed to an answer. So you think it would be inferior? That if men were marrying women for access to the sex, that would be an inferior system to what we have now? Or they just lie to them and then bang them and there's no consequences whatsoever?
I don't see why it would be superior. If
Well, because they would be in this, because your issue is they're lying right? So that they can have sex and there's no social repercussions and they're lying about wanting a long-term relationship. But if they marry you for the sex, they're definitely committing to a long-term relationship.
Okay, yeah, I see your point with that.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So then I guess
So then like female chastity, which should really be our number one thing we're looking at here, right?
I think I still don't necessarily agree.
Oh, okay.
Because
Not necessarily?
I think part of the problem is still the fact that women are feeling undervalued. And
Yeah,
not
I
wanting
get
to be
that they
valued
may
for
still,
sex.
but
And so
you would agree it would be vastly superior, right?
I don't necessarily agree because you marry somebody who just values you for sex, and then if that's the only thing, and you're still not feeling valued
Well, what
for
do you
a person.
think men value women for? Do you think what do you think that they're valuing them for? Like their credit cards? What do you think they value women? They value women because they want to have sex with them. They want them to have their children. That's the main value that women have to men. Like, what do you think the big value is women are bringing to the table absent sex? I actually want to know the answer to that question.
This is such a pointless
Love and
conversation.
friendship.
Love and friendship? You can get friendship from men. Why do you need friendship from women?
It's friendship with all these extra benefits, sharing your whole life with somebody, having a child with them, merging worldviews.
Sex.
Huh?
Sex.
You
So
said
I mean,
having children.
so instead of when you're saying friend, the distinction between you being a friend with a guy and you having a wife is your wife is your friend who you also have sex with. It sounds like the value here still seems to be the sex. Because you could have all those other conditionals with other people, but the sex seems to be the thing you are putting a value emphasis on.
I disagree, and I don't think sex should be the primary value because sex is kind of replaceable. I think the value that you get in a relationship is that merging of worldviews.
What do you bring to the table?
What do I bring to the table?
Yeah, in a relationship.
I think I bring a unique perspective, and I can help you live a more fulfilling life.
You think men date you because you bring them a unique perspective?
Yeah, I think I have given my partner a unique perspective, and I think I've helped him to start living a more fulfilling life, and I've led him to being a better person.
Doesn't every human being on planet Earth have a unique perspective?
No.
No, they're not. No.
No,
How
I
could
think-
two human beings not have unless you're saying
Okay.
all human beings are not unique?
Sure, I would say a lot of people have. You could say down to there's some differences between people, but I think there's a lot of overlap and shared worldviews.
So you want to be valued. So you're one of those. I want to be valued for more than just my sexuality, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
What do you
most
want to be
people
valued
do.
for?
What
What do you want to be valued for?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question that I don't have. I want to be valued for who I am as a person.
Okay, but why wouldn't you be valued for who you are as a person, and the highest value that the man has with you is still the sex? I don't get that. I still value you as a person. I think you're great. I think you're wonderful, this and that. But the not having sex thing, that's a deal breaker. That seems reasonable.
I think I would want to be. I don't think I would want sex to be at the top of that list. of
Why?
What I'm valued for. Would you want like a woman to value you most for the money that
Would
you
I
provide?
want my woman to value having sex with me more than anything? Oh, it's terrible. Oh, no, what would I do? What would I ever do if a woman only valued as her top priority having sex with me? Oh, it's terrible. How would I ever get through the day? She didn't love my big brain and big mind, and she only valued sex as her highest priority I don't know how I could live.
I don't know. Maybe that shows that's how you value yourself is what you have to offer
Wait, I
sexually.
have a question for you. Would you date a guy who lived with his parents?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah. My first boyfriend, he didn't live with his parents.
Yeah,
but
you were well, you're 29. That was when you were 23.
Sure.
So you want to have kids one day?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd be totally cool dating a guy who lived with his parents?
Well, my prerequisite for having kids, because I never wanted kids until my current partner, was that if we're going to have kids, I need to be able to be at home and raise the kids because I don't want them raised by the system.
So you want to be a stay-at-home mom?
I would try to work from home.
What kind of income? Don't you live in one of the highest cost of living areas in California? You said you're from the Bay?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it like
We're outside of the Bay, so it's a little lower. But
Okay,
yeah.
well, in any case, California is still high cost of living. So, and you don't want to be working, so your partner has to work, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the
So-
requirement if we're to have kids. I don't think that's unreasonable because I think it's important
Right.
for a mom to raise.
So
a
then
child.
you look to a man to provide,
Sure.
okay? Don't you think that in the same way you feel about your, and I actually think it's a bit of a straw man that men only care about sex, but let's just grant it. So the same way that you think men think that about women, you think that about men. You simply look at men as how they can provide for you.
I don't. My partner wants to have children, and that was the agreement that we had. It's like I'm okay with
You
having
wouldn't
a kid.
date him. You would not date him if he was not able to provide
If
for
he
you.
didn't want kids,
Let's say he did.
he does want kids, and that is the condition in
So
order
there's a
for us.
condition,
In order for us to have kids,
right?
I wouldn't leave him if he decided, like, sorry, I can't do that.
What if he still wanted to have kids, but he couldn't provide?
I would say, sorry, I'm not having kids.
Okay. So if women are sex objects, then men are success objects.
I'm not valuing him on his success. It's the practicality reason for raising a child. Like, I don't want to be the kind of person that just has
Okay.
the school system raise
We've
their
been
child.
lingering on this for too long.